Well, lads, there's only one thing left for it. It's time for the Great Waaaaagh. Waaaaagh! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. I'm old Big Mek. This is the prophet of the Great Waaaaagh, Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka. And in this video, we're going to build him. Let's get into it! Alright, we're over here on the workbench, and for those of you that have been following, you know exactly what's going on. And for those of you maybe haven't seen all of our Orktober videos, what has happened is I have spent all of Orktober building, priming, painting as much orcs as I can for my army and doing videos every single day, and obviously showing a lot of my building and painting process along the way. Partway through Orktober here, more than halfway, we did a halfway update actually on all the things that were built and painted in the first half, and then a couple of days ago I posted a video asking what should the final project be. So what is the cherry on top of our Waaaaagh cake here, right? What do you want to see? I've got a Stampa that needs rebuilding that I had bought used, and I've got Ghazghkull, and the response was overwhelming for Gaz. So in this video, I'm gonna finally face my fears and put Gaz together. Now, old Big Mek here is quite old enough to have the original Gaz. In fact, here he is. He was featured in an earlier video along with Makari, the greatest grot. Now, funnily enough, I had painted Gaz back in the day and stripped him. That's why he's like discolored. I've never painted Makari. So yeah, I still got to do something with these. And actually, there were quite a few votes for the Stampa, but one of the coolest ideas was for what to do with the original Gaz was to put him and Makari in the Stampa as the drivers. So I'm definitely going to do that. So at some point, not this Orktober, but at some point we'll do that project and these guys will go in there. Today though, we're doing the new Gaz and Makari. And yeah, it's not that I've been afraid of the model. It's been more of a, this is my reward, right, for getting my orcs in a good state. And those of you that watched the very first episode saw that although I own over 10,000 points of orcs, only a little over 2,000, 2,300 or so were actually built and painted and completely, you know, tabletop ready. And I felt really bad about that. And that's why I haven't done Gaz, is I felt like my Waaaaagh wasn't deserving of the great prophet of the Waaaaagh. So now that I've added over 700 points this Orktober, including a Gorka Morkanot and a whole bunch of other units, I think we're getting there. So I got some things on the paint desk here in front of me, and tomorrow is going to be our last day of decent weather for priming through the end of Orktober. So I need to get Gaz built now if I'm going to have any chance at all of getting him fully painted before the last day. All right, we are all set up on the workbench so y'all can see what's going on. There is our Gaz, and yeah, this is so fresh. He's still in the cellophane, so we are literally getting an unboxing here and everything. Check that baby out. Now, I did have the 5-pound metal Gaz from 3rd edition as well. I honestly can't remember if I ever actually painted him, but he disappeared when I sold off most of my armies back in the day. He did not survive, so I do have to get my hands on another one of those if I ever want to add it to the army. Let's see, make sure we got things in the video here. There is our instructions. We got Makari and Gaz. Now, I have heard... Okay, yeah, so you got a couple of options here. This is kind of a funky thing Games Workshop does with their instructions. They'll show you 2 options, and you'll have color-coded, like blue or green. And so it's, do you want Gaz looking right, you use the blue neck. You want him looking left, you use the green neck. It's the same head either way. But then they also have do you want the smoke coming out of the barrels or the bullets coming out of the barrels? Not sure why you can't do both, but we'll take a look at it. There's also 2 different ways to mount them up on the base, so we definitely have some decisions to make. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm actually going to skip ahead and start with Makari, because he's the greatest grot. Alright, so I got all my parts clipped, and there's one really nasty mold joint right here on his side that you really got to be careful with clipping him out of the sprue and then cleaning off. It's up in his armpit. And yeah, you could really take off a lot of detail, so I'm going to be careful with that one. All right, Makari was a little harder to put together than anticipated. The way the top half of the banner there attaches is a little bit suspect, but once you get it in there, it does stay put. I do love that it is a very faithful recreation of the original Makari. It's got the same 3-horn helmet. It's got the same kind of fun looking face, and you gotta love the tactical rock that's a Tempestus Scion helmet. But yeah, I mean, you could use the original Makari still to this day. It is literally identically sized, so that's pretty fun. So Makari is done, and now we are ready to move on to Gaz. All right, we have basically one leg and a half a body, and you can already see just how much bigger new Gaz is compared to OG Gaz. And yeah, it's impressive. It's a little smaller than I thought so far. I think a lot of the bulk is in the arms and stuff. As far as the body goes, I've always heard he's kind of more like Death Dread size. He is not. In fact, I think the War Boss and Mega Armor might be as big body-wise. But this Mega Armor is way more chunky, and it is a very, very, very cool kit. Look at that. Wow. Oh, that is so stinking cool. So yeah, we got a body and some legs. All right, I got the power plant done, and now I'm starting to see why they say he's Death Dread size. This power plant is bigger than the one on the back of the Death Dread. It is awesome. You could power a truck with this thing or one of those buggies, no problem. And you gotta love the orkiness of the old school crank starter on it to get it going. Old Gaz needs a crank. All right, you gotta love the spring-loaded stick bomb chuckas up here. Those are hilarious. They've got the little clicky thingy like the Lego launchers have. They're hilarious. Holy smokes, that gun arm is so chunky. So I ran into some problems with the shoulder pad here. It's a 2-piece affair that you glue together first, and then you're supposed to kind of snake it in there between all the other pieces and get it to sit on this tiny little peg on the back side and then another one on the front. It sits up off the armor. I've been struggling with that piece for quite a bit now, but I think I finally got it on there. Before it gets covered up in the build, this piston assembly and the one on his other arm, these are bigger than the pistons in the Gorkanaut. They're crazy thick. All right, this power claw is nutter butters. I had to go grab Gorky Morkinaut just to show you, like, that claw is almost as big. I mean, literally, it's just the opening. Like, the claw itself could totally go on a Gorkanaut. Or conversely, Gorkanaut claw could go on a Gaz. That's just so cool. Alright, arms are on, back is on, body is built. It's time to decide how to build him on the base, whether I want him leaning to his right or leaning to his left. So let's dry fit it and take a look. So this is actually pretty clever. They give you the display base thing there with the Primaris helmet on it, which is so apropos. And it's basically, you can either stand him on the 2 metal grates or on the concrete and the curb up there. So basically you can have him like this, and that's that kind of extreme lean to the one side, or you can put him like that, and then he's kind of level on the unlevel base. This way is cool. I think this way is cooler. It's just so much more dynamic. So I'm going to go this way. One thing I do want to say, so this is drying already, obviously, and that's because I'm using the Tamiya Extra Thin Cement. This is plastic cement, and it's called that for a reason. It literally chemically reacts with the plastic and melts it together. That's why Gaz is so solid already. Super glue is great for certain things, but if you're building an all plastic model, especially one like this that's going to have a lot of joins and these thin pieces, you really should consider the Extra Thin Cement. It also has capillary action, so that is, you put a little drop on it and it's going to suck into the gap all on its own and spread around, which is really nice. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description below for the Extra Thin Cement and any of the other tools I'm using here.
But yeah, as far as the pose goes, not only do I like this one because it's more dynamic, it actually works with the flow on his little uh, flag, for lack of a better term, there that covers up his front. When you put him this way, it's kind of blowing a bit hard one direction for no apparent reason. At least with this, it's kind of going down with gravity too, so we're definitely doing this way. Okay, getting Gaz onto his base is a bit of a gaff. Even though they give you those flat surfaces, there really isn't a lot of positive engagement. Really, you probably want to drill him and pin him, especially with how heavy he is. And this is one of those situations where instead of a gel super glue, if I had a super thin super glue like my thin cement, which unfortunately I just ran out of a couple of days ago, you could drop some of that thin super glue in this gap while squeezing them together. I kind of have to squeeze them like a vice in order to get them to stay on this base in this dynamic pose. Alright, so one thing I've definitely seen on the internet is to leave his head and neck off while you're painting so that you can paint it before you put it in there. So glue all these pieces together, but don't glue this into the main body. Also, I want to point out that you can put him looking left or right in the body no matter which way he is on the base. I don't know that looking to his left while he's leaning right is that great, but maybe it is. I don't know. I went with him the way the directions had it. So he's looking into his lean versus away from it. But, you know, that could look cool. Of course, conversely, if you put him level, you could have him looking to his left like he's supposed to, or you could put this one in and have him level and have him looking to the right. So I like that they give you kind of 4 different options here on how you want him to look. So I got that drying now for his head. All right, so I've gone ahead with the casings coming out of the giant Shuta. They're the coolest thing to me. That's what I wanted in there. You certainly can combine those with the smoke if you want to. Could be a cool effect. I'm thinking about it, but maybe not. I haven't decided yet. But you could certainly do both. And who are we kidding? Of course I'm using both of them. I'm an orc. If they didn't want us to use both, why'd they put both in the same kit? Look at that. That is so rad looking. Alright, so I wanted to show what capillary action was for those of you that don't know. So I've put the little skull thingy in place there. It's snapped into where it's supposed to be, but there's no glue on it yet. You take the glue and you put it where the joint is. And if you look real close, you can see all the liquid runs to where it needs to go and fills in the gap and secures your part, all without pooling or causing any other kind of mayhem. This is the kind of glue that precision scale modelers use. Anyways, I did think about potentially doing a little swap there. I thought that was maybe a little bit cooler, but in the end, I decided against it because I want the horn exhaust to be the focal point on the top as opposed to the other horns. I thought that it just kind of took away from it a little, so I went with stock. Oh yeah, check that out. So what I ended up doing was gluing his face in place, but not his iron gob. So this allows me to paint the face, paint the fun lights inside the gob and stuff like that, and then at the very end I will glue that on. So that is my only sub-assembly, is the iron gob itself.
And with that, Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka is complete. Completely built, all finished, ready for primer and then painting, hopefully all done for Orktober. Here is OG Gaz, just to give you an idea. He doesn't even come up to the gun barrels. Gaz has certainly come a long way in the Warhammer 40k universe, and I think it's really cool that this is a character that started off as a regular knob in Andy Chambers' army and then won himself a battle report and had a miniature made and then another miniature made and now a third miniature made. There's not too many minis, especially named characters in 40k, that have 3 different character models made, and all of them in a progression like that, right? You know, most of your Space Marines might have the original and then a Primaris-sized one, but yeah, like getting 3, that's a big deal. Gaz is pretty darn cool. I'm super stoked to have him built for my army now. Definitely feeling the Waaaaagh, right? Feeling the Waaaaagh. And yeah, here he is with his best grot, Makari, who again, pretty dang similar sized, if not bang on the money to the original, which I think is awesome. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put original Gaz here up in the Stampa as the driver, but I'm going to leave Makari off, and then I'm going to paint him up the exact same way that I'll paint up new Makari. And then if I'm feeling nostalgic in a game, I'll take the OG Makari to go with the new Ghazghkull. So yeah, there we go. That is this episode. Ghazghkull is completely built. Super looking forward to painting this model. This thing is awesome. Yeah. So thanks for choosing Gaz, everyone that chose Gaz. Anyways, thanks for watching this Orktober. If you like what you see, you want to support the channel, please, you hit all the buttons and stuff, like, subscribe. Make sure you share the video. There's only so much that old Big Mek can do on his own. So if you've got somebody else that is into orcs or into 40K that you want to share these with, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so yet, join our Patreon. There's a link down below. You can join at the completely free level. We've done some new things over there. In fact, you will see a Patreon exclusive video there. Again, it's all free. You don't have to do the paid level, though I obviously would appreciate it if you did. But I'm never going to lock my content behind a paywall. That is definitely one thing I've decided. So whether a YouTube member or a Patreon member that's paid, you will get benefits, but there will never be locked content. So yeah, it's a free video. It's up on Patreon. It's a little painting demo guide. It's something that doesn't do so hot on the YouTube algorithm. So I think that's going to be kind of the difference. Is if you want to see kind of more in-depth stuff or more background stuff that isn't necessarily entertaining enough to be on YouTube, but can be very informative, then come join us over on Patreon. Again, if you want to use any of the hobby tools that you saw in this video, there are affiliate links down in the description below. For Amazon, it doesn't cost you any money or any extra money over what it normally would, and they send me a couple of teeth so that I can do things like upgrade my lighting and cameras and things like that, so I can do more of these videos and have maybe more angles at the same time, because right now I am filming all on one camera. So anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being a part of Orktober. Thank you all for voting for Gaz. I've gone from slightly ashamed that I own this model because my Waaaaagh didn't feel good enough to definitely feeling like Gaz is ready to lead my Waaaaagh. Yeah. So until next time, Waaaaagh on!